Welcome to week 9, and this is our second and last week of Access. And this week we are going to learn how we can pull the information out of the Access databases that we need. We are also going to do a project where we merge Word and Access together. So you're going to be talking and going through a little bit about table design and some of the things that you're going to do with that. Creating tables, which we've done. We're going to look at relationships between tables, and then we're going to go into something called a query, which is how we pull the information we want out of the database. So you are going to go into My IT Lab. There is an Access Chapter 1 grader. Remember, you can do this as many times as you want, and you can go back and look at the summary report if you view your submission and see what you've done wrong. So you can do this as many times as you want to increase your grade. You're going to read the Chapter 2 and do the quiz. And then there are some video tutorials which are going to help you figure out the queries, because queries are something that take a little bit of time to understand and to look at. So you're going to do the interactive video tutorial 1, and then you are going to open up the book in My IT Lab, and you're going to do hands-on exercise 1 and hands-on exercise 2, and you're going to upload that to Canvas. The other thing you're going to do is complete a mail merge using the context database that you created last week. You are going to use the contact database, create the mail merge from the advisee letter, which there's a link here. You can just pull that up there. It's a Word document that has some information in it. And you are just going to merge your contacts into that. Give that just a second. And then when you get that done, so here's the letter. You'll notice that it says key in the appropriate date format here and remove all of this note. So when it tells you there, every place it says here, you're going to put that in, you need to remove all that and put in the actual information. So I would just type in the date there the way that you would do that and put that in. And then the inside address. Remember, you have your block address. You don't have to merge everything separately. When you do your block address, though, one of the things that I would make sure of is it shows you what the address will look like as soon as you do block address. Make sure all your fields are there. So you have your name, your complete name, your address, city, state, and zip. If you don't, do the match fields, because you might have called your street address something that it doesn't recognize, and you would have to match those. And then your greeting, your salutation. So all of those 3 here's are going to be changed. Also, notice here that you're going to put the student's first name in here within the letter itself. So you'll want to merge that in also. Again, student name down here at the bottom. So you're going to merge the student name in twice. What you're going to do is you're going to finish all of that. You're going to have everything in, and when you're done, do your finish and merge, edit the individual letters. That's what you need to send me, is that document that you're going to be using for that. So don't forget to complete the merge, because that's one of the things that you're going to be sending me. In fact, what you're going to do is you are going to send the main document and the merged document both. So the main document is the one before you merged it and got the 8 letters, and then the merged document is after you merged it and you have 8 new letters. Remember, again, if you need to make changes, you make changes to the main document and remerge it. Don't make changes to the merged document, or you'll end up with hundreds of letters that you don't need. When you do this, you're going to create a compressed folder for me. The way that you would do that, let me just open up something here. Let's say you have the 2 files. You want to put them in a compressed folder. what you can do is click on one and then hold down your control key on your keyboard, click on the next one. And when you have them both, you can right click on that. So right click with your mouse button. And one of the things that you can do is send to, and you do compressed zip folder. And that will create this little folder with the zipper on it. You can rename it at that point in time. And I'm just going to call it my letters. And that's what you'll send me, just one file, as opposed to two separate files. Notice also that you will be sending it to using your MTC email, not the InStructure Canvas messaging. I'm not reading anything from InStructure Canvas messaging, so make sure that you send it using your email. Also, if you need the memo letter handout, we use that in week 4. There's a link to that also here. Okay, let's go into Access for just a couple minutes. I want to show you a little bit about the queries. So I'm going to go to Create, and I'm just going to do Query Design. And what you get up here is your query, and it shows the tables that you have in your database. If you don't see that, there's a little Show Table button up here. You can click on. That will turn that back on. So you just click on the one that you want. Let's say I want the properties, and this isn't one that you're going to be doing, and agents, because I want to show relationships too. And I have my 2 tables that are up there. Now these have previously been related. You're going to do that when you do this, and notice that it's related by the agent ID in each of those. So that's how they're related. So I can go through and just select the fields that I wanted. So let's say that I wanted my listing ID, the date it was listed, the date it was sold, the list price, the sales price, and then I want the agent's first, last name, and company. So that's the information that I want. What I've done is I've created a grid here of just the fields I want. These are from 2 separate tables, but when I run that query, it looks like I have one table with all of that in there. So those are all of the properties that are listed. Now, I'm going to go back to my query design, so I'm just going to click on this. Let's say that I only want the properties that were sold. And I can do this in a couple different ways. If I were looking at that list and I wanted to see what was sold, I would say, well, it's sold if the date sold isn't blank and the sale price isn't blank. So I'm going to go back here to my query design, and I'm going to put some criteria in my grid here. And I have a criteria line. So I'm going to go to my sale price, and I'm going to put in greater than 0. Notice I put it under sale price because that's what I looked at when I looked at my list of data. If I put it under listing properties, I would get a mess because that's not where I would look for it there. So you always put it in the field that you want it in. So I'm going to click on that. And now notice I only have properties that have a sale price in it that's not 0. Let's go back again. Let's say that I wanted to know the ones from HouseMax that sold, the agent. Now, if I want them to be the same, I'm just going to come over here and type in House MAX. I hope I spelled that correctly. And when I do that, that sets up an equal situation. And notice it put the quotes around it for me. So I run it again, and now I only have the houses that sold from HouseMax. So when you do the query, the one thing I wanted to show you here is make sure that when you put the criteria in, that you are putting it under the field that you would look at in the column. So again, if I put the company over here, I wouldn't get anything because there are no listing properties with HouseMax. So keep an eye on that and make sure that you check that. Next week, we're going to be doing another project, so I'll be getting back with you, and enjoy your week.